In this corner, the all-new Target-exclusive Marvel Legends Avengers Beyond Earth's Mightiest Black Widow. And in this corner, the Marvel Legends Uncanny X-Men Retro Card Spiral. Each one is jam-packed with accessories. Each one is super articulated. But which one is the best female Marvel Legend of 2023? Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation, where I review action figures and then articulate 5 points to help you decide if you want to add that figure to your collection. The 5 points I discuss are packaging, presentation, posability, playability, and price. I'm Jason, and if you enjoy my content, please like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube rigmarole. Before we begin, I just want to acknowledge that while some people did get theirs in late 2022, most of us, myself included, didn't get ours till early this year. As such, I'm counting her as a 2023 figure, but if you don't, I get it. Starting with the packaging and spiral. Moving on to presentation and Black Widow. Wait, what? Oh, you mean as a reviewer I need to actually explain myself? Fine. Black Widow comes in this windowless box. Spiral, on the other 5 hands, comes in a nice retro-style blister card. Anyway, as I was saying, Black Widow stands at... Wait, that's still not detailed enough? Well, deep down I think we all know it is, but let's actually dig into it. To Natasha's credit, she does come in this Avengers Beyond Earth's Mightiest box, which, while not as nice as other Marvel Legends specialty collections, still benefits from its own logo and its own color scheme. It also benefits from having this iconic J.G. Jones artwork on the side, Miranda on the other, and a pretty cool pose on the back featuring more accessories than I can remember seeing in a Marvel Legend in a very long time. Spiral comes in a retro card inspired by the old Toy Biz figures and shows you everything you're gonna get. Moving on to presentation, and Black Widow stands at... Okay, last one, I promise. Flipping Spiral around, we see all the other available figures in the wave. I previously reviewed Wolverine and Dark Phoenix, and then over here we get a little bio. All joking aside, unless you're talking about some kind of fun gimmick like the pretend VHS boxes for the Spider-Man set, a windowless box, no matter how nicely it's handled, will never compete with actually seeing what you're getting. For presentation, this round goes to Spiral. 6 1/8 inches. There! To the top of her head, Spiral stands at 6 1/4. At first blush, Agent Romanoff is very impressive looking, but you might be surprised to know there is a considerable amount of reuse. Bringing out Shriek for comparison, we see that the arms and hands are reuse, as are the legs, and also the feet. Bringing out this older Black Widow though, and we can see that Hasbro's been using these feet for a very long time. Additionally, the belts and bracelets are the same. The only parts on the new Widow that are new are the torso and the head. The torso reminds me a lot of this Black Widow that was made for the motorcycle 2-pack, primarily the seams and wrinkles, and also the zippers and pop collars. What makes this one unique, however, is that if you peek under the belt, you'll find a reverse ab crunch. Moving up to the head, I love the face sculpt. Shame though that the hair gets in the way of her very lovely green eyes. All those details have been printed on and are very lifelike, and I really like this fun, spunky short hair she has. Near as I can tell, Spiral is a 100% new sculpt. In fact, the only part that could have even been reused is the lower torso. That's because this belt's a floating piece. Even then, there's a seam running down the sides that continues to the legs. The legs themselves have also been given these extra pouches and wrinkles. Even the hands had to be completely new because Spiral only has 4 digits per hand. Wait a second, the card art got the number of fingers wrong. Perhaps I judged you too harshly. In any other situation, these yellow jewels could have been painted on, but since the upper torso had to accommodate all these arms, they were able to sculpt in those details. Although you'd think that there's a lot of reuse, 5 of these upper arms are new sculpted. These 2 right arms match, but this one has a sculpted in armband. Over on this side, this arm is blank, this one has the armband, and this one is completely cybernetic. As stated before, this pouch belt is a new piece and is floating. Of course, the head's completely new. Very fierce face with the details printed on, gleaming, almost samurai-like helmet, and then this long cascading white hair. Traveling down the leg, Spiral has boots with the fur. As for whether or not the feet are reuse, honestly, I couldn't tell you. Both figures are breathtaking, but as a completely new sculpt instead of just a partial one, for presentation, this round goes to Spiral. Moving on to posability, and this is the category that made me want to do this versus. This Black Widow is being touted as one of the most posable female figures ever, but Spiral though. Natasha has butterfly joints and Spiral doesn't, but Spiral has 6 arms. Black Widow has a reverse ab crunch, but one thing Spiral has that Black Widow doesn't is boot cut. Hands down, Natasha's one of the most posable Hasbro Lady Legends ever made, but this isn't even the most posable Black Widow. That distinction goes to Toy Biz. She doesn't have the butterfly joint either, but she has 2 sets of bicep swivels, and while she doesn't have a diaphragm joint, she does have a waist cut and an ab crunch. She also has boot cut, toe articulation, and articulated fingers, which don't get me wrong, I'm happy that we do alternate hands for that instead, but let's be honest, Hasbro's not exactly breaking any ground here. And as for the whole diaphragm joint and reverse ab crunch for a female character, DC Icons beat them to that all the way back in 2016. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be dismissive. This figure has the kind of articulation we've been waiting for in a Lady Legend, and looks 1,000 times more natural than the diaper system on DC Multiverse. In fact, when it comes to integrating joints into the sculpt, I think this looks even better than Mafex. I said what I said. Comparing the two, and this is how far back they can arch, and this is how far forward they can hunch. Beyond the bicep swivel and boot cut thing, there's nothing that one can do that the other can't, though Spiral's long hair does get in the way. Beyond that, as I count it, Black Widow has a very admirable 28 points of articulation. Spiral, however, has 47. As wonderfully articulated as this Black Widow is, for posability, this round also goes to Spiral. Moving on to playability, and both figures come with an astonishing array of accessories. With 6 hands, Spiral has 6 opportunities to hold weapons, and Hasbro's given her 6 weapons to hold. 4 of them are matching katanas, which I'm fairly sure are reuse. Regardless, there's a great amount of detail in the handle. She also has this fancy golden sword, which I honestly don't know if it came from something else, and she also has this axe. Nice sculpted detail in the handle, but no extra paint. You might have noticed the cyborg hand is a fist, so they also included an additional accessory holding hand and an additional open hand. This gives us a much better appreciation for that Mojo World 4-fingered look, showcasing all of Spiral's weapons, and this is absolutely spectacular. That said, if you thought that Spiral having 8 accessories was impressive, Black Widow has 16. In addition to the open hands that she comes preloaded with, Nat has a pair of fists for foxy boxing. She also has a pair of weapon holding hands. One hand can hold this gun, and the other hand can hold this gun with a silencer. Silencer? I don't even know her! Not only that, but both guns have peg holes for effects. That includes a couple of muzzle flashes and a couple of smoke trails. Keep an eye on these though, because they are prime carpet goblin cuisine. Black Widow also comes with 2 blast effect bracelets and 2 smoke effects bracelets. And if all of that wasn't enough, she also has an alternate angry head and an alternate smiling head. Don't get me wrong, I love the hair. I particularly like the red they used and the shading, but this style makes her look less like an assassin and more like a real estate agent. I also wish that there was a way of mixing and matching the hair so that you weren't confined to one hairstyle per expression. Also, while I'm here, someone commented on the Hawkeye video asking if more than one figure could fit on the Sky Cycle, so here you go. This is just like Budapest. But playability is more than just accessories or reminding you that we'll probably never know the full backstory of Black Widow and Hawkeye in the MCU. It's also about how well your figures play with others. For the Black Widows that brought us here, and here's the original Toy Biz Marvel Legends, the Hasbro Retro Card version, the motorcycle version, and the Walmart exclusive version. For the only other figure in the Beyond Earth's Mightiest collection I've looked at so far, and here we have Hawkeye, and then for some Steve's Rogers, and here we have the 80 years version, the 20th anniversary version, and the Ultimate version. As for Iron Man, and here's 80 years, the 1990s modular armor, and Extremis. Next up is the West Coast Avengers Retro Card Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, and the West Coast Avengers Retro Card White Vision. And then just for a couple of Avengers villains, and here we have Kang the Conqueror and Ultron. Shifting from Avengers to X-Men, and here we have the Mojo World 3-pack version of Longshot, as well as the Mojo World 3-pack version of Dazzler. For the only other figures in this X-Men Retro Card wave I've looked at, and here's Dark Phoenix, and Wolverine in his training uniform. Alternating between 80s and 90s version of the X-Men, and here we have the Retro Card Wolverine, and Wolverine from the Love Triangle 3-pack. As for Scott Slim Summers, figures, and here's the one from the Dark Phoenix 2-pack and the Love Triangle 3-pack. Here we have Outback Steakhouse Rogue and the retro card 90s Rogue, 80s style Punk Rock Storm, and 90s style retro card. And then rounding out our 90s X-Men, and here we have Gambit. And then moving into some larger characters, here's Beast, 80 years Thor, 80 years Incredible Hulk, a mental organism designed only for killing, and Mojo. For a relative scale comparison, here's Black Widow and Spiral with Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man. And as always, here they are with Stealth Iron Man. In terms of figure comparisons, I feel like these two lady legends are pretty evenly matched, and while both have a very impressive arsenal, for playability, this round goes to Black Widow, baby! This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price, which is another major reason why I wanted to do this Versus. At a time where it feels like we're getting less and less for more and more, these figures show us just what Hasbro can do. This Spiral could have just as easily been a deluxe figure in a windowless box for at least $40, but instead all this retails for just $25. As for Black Widow, with all this new sculpting, articulation, and accessories, including 2 new heads, even $27.99 is a killer deal. For price, this round also goes to Black Widow, but the battle goes to Spiral 3-2, making her the best female Marvel legend of 2023. And honestly, maybe ever. Now that we've settled that question, I can't help but wonder, what's the best Black Widow figure ever made? That, however, is a conversation for another day. If you like this video, check out one of these. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again real soon, but until then, play nice and have fun.